Your Music exclusive.
I grew up like a savage. One, two, 1, 2. You now rocking with the No Vultures podcast. You got me, myself. You got OG Clee going out on, I give him sick leave today. And today we got a very, 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 very special guest. Now, this guy, if you don't know his face right now, then you've been under a rock. And if you in the marijuana community, you definitely sleep because this guy is the most famous face associated to marijuana outside of the Zigzag Man.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? He has done the most branding in marijuana since I don't know who. I don't know who has branded themselves or a brand in this business in this field, period. You know what I'm saying, at all. This guy is, I don't know, I'm not even sure how many albums he has, but you know he's a hip-hop junkie because he doesn't stop working. He loves rap music, and I happen to know that he was a great freestyler. Today we got Berner on No Vultures, man.
Right on, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Man.
Out 50 albums out.
50?
Yeah, 5-0.
God damn, that's Floyd Mayweather number, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I got to give you the disclaimer, Bern. Like, started a podcast just because, just like you, I got an affinity and love for hip-hop. And not just hip-hop, the surrounding culture, right? So anything, whether it's the industries that you mastered, whether it's, anything associated with culture. You know, we from the Bay, so we got a diverse culture. So that's a lot of stuff that comes with that. So all the way back from fucking breakdancing to skateboarding, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's me. And so I started this to start giving out flowers to people before, anything wrong happens, because we tend to gravitate towards the negativity.
Yeah,
in the media.
and we wait too long to give people their props, especially where we're from. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why hence the title No Vultures, because I don't like culture vultures. You know what I'm saying? Heard Dame Dash say it years ago, and I've been running with it ever since.
Facts, man. That boy got game too. I got a chance to chop it up with Dame back in the day, so he definitely knows what's up. He's been through some shit. He's seen a lot of vultures in his time, for sure.
Yes, sir. City born and raised.
Yep.
San Francisco, California.
San Francisco, moved out to Arizona for a little bit, 6th through like 10th grade, back and forth. But yeah, SF, born and raised.
And so did you, like, if I'm correct, you had like a dual citizenship in neighborhoods as far as like being in the Sunset neighborhood and the Fillmore, because you was at a restaurant with Pops in the Fillmore?
Yeah, so like, when I was younger, like I said, from like 6th to like 11th grade, let's call it, my father had a restaurant right there on California and Fillmore. So it wasn't the Fillmore district, but obviously it's right down the street. So I'd ride that 22 up to Hayes Street, whatnot, or go do my thing. I'd always pass by the Mo and used to steal video games and movies right there at the Blockbuster right there in Fillmore. And go sling it to the barber. Rest in peace, Kev. That was on Fillmore and Geary. So I just felt like a little connection to the neighborhood.
Yeah. When you was growing up back then, like, and I'm assuming you moving around in the 80s, like, so, the neighborhood is vibrant. It's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been gentrification yet, right? So, like, what was, like, Berner's soundtrack? Like, what did you hear and what did you see? Like, what was the vibration?
Man, like, what I used to hear a lot was, like, when I was around the time I was actually really moving around would be Cash Money, bro. People slapped the fuck out of Cash Money, especially when I went to Gal. When I went to Galileo, they were slapping the hell out of Cash Money. But me, truly though, what I heard and what I chose to hear was just GLP, Yuck Mouth, 3 Times Crazy, the Jacka, Mac Dre, obviously E40, Too Short, JT the Bigger Figure, San Quinn, just all the shit that was really speaking to me. Rapping Forte, just all the real classic shit. That's what I fell in love with. And when I moved to Arizona, I appreciate that shit so hard. They be like, man, you from San Francisco, you gay. Or you from the home of Rice and Ronnie or the Cable Car, my bro. Nah, I'm from the home of 17 Reasons, 18 with a bullet. Shout out to Gold Toes. I just show them compilations by, bro. Y'all wouldn't last a day in the city.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Take this bus line and see if you can make it all the way up to the top. Nah, I doubt you could. So, I just, like, I fell in love with the Bay music so much more because when I moved, people didn't understand where I was from. And we're so, like you said, diverse. You got the Asian mob cats. You got just so much different people that were just doing so much dope shit out here in the Bay that I just try to preach it everywhere I went.
Yeah. Speaking of Galileo, Gil from Galileo. You know what I'm saying? I know some people that went to school with you and they talk about Gil, you know what I'm saying, that he was quiet, you know what I'm saying, he was slick, he moved around with Renz and Trey. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, Renz. You know what I'm saying?
man, rest in peace
Chris.
to the brother Rams, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know about that? Yeah, yeah, man. I like Galileo. It was cool. We just got big high over there.
Yeah. A lot of people went to Galileo, you know, and when I talk about, you know, you got the same reputation, and that's what I like about people. Period. Is like when they be the same their whole life. Like, you know what
I
I'm
ain't
saying?
changed at all.
They like, man, that's the same dude. He just super smooth, super cool, and but you was tagging and shit back then.
Yeah, that's how I got the name Berner. Well, really, I started writing bursts at first, and then my homie from Hunters Point, David, he was in a crew called 3F. He wrote Berner with a U, and he got saved, bro. He found God, and so it's like, bro, I'm putting this shit down. He was drinking, he was doing a lot of shit. He had a hard time, and I said, bro, you about to RIP Berner? He said, yeah. I said, man, I've been eyeing that name for a long time. I said, I'm about to use it with E. It's good. He said, yeah. So I just kind of ran with it.
That's dope. And like, what would you like? What was y'all like hitting up buses and like stuff like that?
I know was never good at like full on pieces and shit like that, murals, but I would just hit up buses. I used to have my OG scriber with me, my little streaker, you know what I'm saying? Like my little, you know, I would do walk downs in the bus would be the most I do. You just sit there, big letters down the whole panels of the wall, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was a rush at the time. It was some bullshit, but that's what I was into. You know what I'm saying?
What was the like, I've been trying to figure this out and I hit dregs about this, right? Because I try to get into the graffiti community and know who's who. And, you know, you see certain tags and you always see them, right? But where does it come? And I'm a Beat Street kid, so I know spit. You know what I'm saying? I know about the disrespect part, right? But how does that rule go as far as, like, murals? Like, when people... Is that an unsaid rule, or are you not supposed to touch people's shit?
You ain't supposed to touch nothing. Like you scribe on a bus and you see someone just and then put it, you know, just it's like anything else. It's just competition. So, you know, respectfully, you're supposed to let your shit rock. If you got a spot, you're supposed to let it rock. But then, you know, crews used to have beef and people used to be like, man, that boy's a toy. He's can.
Yeah.
He's can. He's a toy. And they just cross that shit out. Man, look at his style. It's whack as fuck. He don't know how to use a can. He don't know how to use this. Boom, boom, boom. So it'd just be crazy. So I think the rules are, shit, if you trash, someone's gonna cross your bitch out, cross your shit out, put their shit up.
Who was the man in your time?
Bro, honestly, my boy Berner was the one, bro. He was
Okay.
crazy. He was turned up. And then I'm trying to think who else was going crazy. My boy Fresh. There was a lot of cats doing their thing, bro. Like, it was just a lot of people. My boy Topper, he used to rap too. Topper used to do his thing. Conceit. There was just a lot of people doing their thing.
I think like Conceit should still be out here. Like, I think I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
Now, when you growing up, right, with your background, so you being half Italian, half Mexican, right? Like, the lines that get pushed, especially in Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose, maybe Richmond, like, as far as like the gangs, right, gang banging, and like, how did you avoid that? Because, you know, every day you can get sweated or you can be fooled, or it can go either way. So, like, how did you avoid that? Because San Francisco was big on it, especially when it comes to Latino.
Man, the Bay Area is big on it, and
Yeah.
just like Northern California is big on it. And I think that the reason why I've been so successful is because I never put myself in a box. But, you know, look, at the end of the day, I'm not a gangster, bro. I get money. I'm a player. Like you said, I'm smooth. But I've understand how to play human chess my whole life. You have to understand how to be able to kind of adapt, how to kind of be a chameleon, how to be cool with but not affiliated with in a way that puts you in a box. So I got down with everybody, really. You know what I'm saying? I was hanging out with the Asians, getting money more than anything. And I used to, when I moved back from Arizona, I went to Gal. You know, there was a couple of Southerners that went to Gal, and I remember the North Daniels coming through and just smashing on fools and just seeing all that negative shit. And I was like, man, I can't be a part of none of that shit. So
Right.
just
I hope that kids look at you right now, right? And I hope that they're able to have foresight on what they think their life should look like later on, instead of, because I just had this talk with Bill Haney and Devin Haney about how our neighborhoods, you almost get the right of passage for doing the wrong shit, right?
Yep.
And so it's like, I appreciate you showing a nice lifestyle, right? Because I got this by being a player.
For sure, I got it by being neutral, understand that people are just people. You know what I'm saying? I never really understand the whole gangbang shit. I understood neighborhoods because naturally you're from a different neighborhood, and there's been things going on long before we've even we're here. So it's you kind of inhabit and kind of. I knew that I was fortunate enough to have two parents that loved me. I wasn't from that shit. My parents worked very hard, and I was raised with a lot of love. That's why I always try to spread. I always just try to spread my love, use my platform to kind of bring people together. I really care about that shit.
That's dope, man. And is it safe to say high school is when you start hustling?
Nah, I mean, no, I hustled way before high school. Shit, I mean, sixth grade is when I started hustling.
So you was actually, because I heard a story before. So you was in AZ, right? And did you is that where you discovered like Reggie, or you had already seen some bullshit out here?
Bro,
Before?
when I was in fifth grade, I was an innocent kid. I was chilling. I don't know how I didn't get caught up with nothing out here, but I was good. When I moved to Arizona in sixth grade, I learned about coke, crystal, acid, hella Reggie, like real bells of Reggie. I learned the drug game in Arizona big time. All my homeboys, big brothers were going crazy. And they would just front this shit. Go sell this shit at school. Go crazy. Go do this. Here's a sheet of acid. I'll give it to you for $100. Oh, there's 100 hits in here. How much you sell it for? $5? Oh, you can make $400.
Yes.
We had the whole school on acid, so we were going crazy in Arizona, and I would bring it back to the Bay and kind of like. Then that's how I discovered the difference between California weed and Reggie, and so I started bringing weed back from the Bay to Arizona. And so in middle school, I was a man for sure, but I wasn't like clogging hella bread like how you see in movies with hella shoe boxes full of hundred shit. I was just doing that shit to get high and have fun, really, to be honest with you.
Right. That's usually typically what you're doing at that age.
Yeah, I wasn't hustling to be like some master kingpin or shit. I was like, yo, we having the most fun. We eating good. We getting high. We fuck with all the bitches. We having a good time. We were the guys.
Shout out to Lil D, because I told him he was one of a kind. Most people at that age wasn't taking the shit that serious.
Nah.
He was on one.
He was on one.
He was on one.
Shout out to Lil D. I just got a chance to sit down with him the other day, dude. Really good dude.
Yeah, he told me he came to see you, man. Yeah, really good dude. Shout out to Lil D. So like at Galileo, you full-fledged on already hustling.
Hell yeah.
And they always said that you was the man, but like in those days, like how did you keep it low key? Because I see kids doing wild shit now, but like that's like a felony back then, basically.
Well, I mean, back then it was just weed, so in SF it wasn't really that big of a deal. I was just slanging sacks at school. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially at Gal and then at Lincoln when I left Gal, I moved to the Sunset. Because when I went to Gal, I lived with my dad on Fillmore, California. And it was like anything went because my dad wasn't really paying attention. He didn't pay the phone bill. We had no phone. He wasn't checking the mailbox. There was no kind of like tab on me going to school or doing anything. I was just wilding out. So my mom had moved back there from Arizona back to the Bay. It was just like, nah, you gotta be focused. You gotta finish school. So she got a house in the Sunset. And I went over to Lincoln, and I remember, that's when I had ran into some trouble because I was getting weed from a boy over there on Fillmore and Haight, and he was getting shit from up top. And the Asians had Lincoln on Smash. They was all selling pineapple and mango. I was coming with Big Bud. I was coming to all kind of different shit. And there was like little beefs about that. Like, they're like, man, you fucking with our shit. And so that's the first time I actually ran into any kind of problems with that.
Okay.
But we turned it into something. I started fucking with the Asians and understood they had a lot of weight. And that's when I really started like elevating a little bit. I'm like, oh, all right, well, fuck getting a QP, a little half pound. Y'all want to throw me four Ps?
4 Ps.
Oh, shit. Okay, y'all throw it to me? It's all good because they knew if I didn't come back with it, then you already know what happens. They're going to pull up 30 deep.
For sure.
So, yeah, Galileo was more low key because I was just slinging sacks, and then when I got to Lincoln, I was kind of just slinging sacks. But then that's when it turned into getting a little more weed from the Asians. I had a job then at Tully's coffee shop, and I used to put quarters, half ounces, and zips, and I was just trapping hard out of Tully's. And people would come through. I was working a regular job. I enjoyed the work. I like to work. That's why I work so hard now to this day. But I remember having the people at Burgermeister, the post office, people working over here, the hair salon, they'd all come through. I had the whole neighborhood, Coal Valley, on Smash. Wow. Everyone bought weed from me. I had quarters, ace, zips all day long out the coffee shop.
And you was ahead of the game because most of us only knew how to grind on the turf. Nobody really knew how to spread their game out like that.
Yeah, not to sound shady, but I was stealing from there too. So, every time somebody would buy coffee and give me even change, or they'd buy a pound of coffee, they'd come buy a pound of coffee for the crib. We just type in the little number, say see it, then press exit and write a little note. And at the end of the day, we pulled about $300 or $400 out the register, and we was slanging weed out there. We just ran it up hard. Bro.
Ran it up, yeah. Now, the infamous strain of weed that we would like, I want you to explain this because you are a weed veteran and you are a real San Francisco native. What is nade?
Man, Nadine. I mean, nade is something that was coming from Canada, and I think the Hells Angels or some kind of group was bringing it in, and it was at first that's what it was. Then there was different batches of nade being sprayed. I remember going to Third and Palu or something like that with my boys and buying a couple sacks of nade, and then bringing it back to Arizona, and a chick started getting hella sick off it and started tripping out. I'm like, man, this shit's gone too far, right? But nade had this shit smashing in San Francisco, and the Oakland version of it was crypt.
Crypt. Now, I was about to ask you that. Did you experience, because for a long time, crypt was like only coming out of two places. You had on 72nd, you had Honey Boom in the alley, and then you had like Alvin Groom had it for a while, and maybe somebody guys around Parker Street, Greenside, but it wasn't everywhere, right? So like, as far as the nade, like, was it isolated like that too? Only a couple people had it?
I mean, bro, you had to go to Hunter's Point to get the nade. At least that's what I had to do.
Okay.
And you would only be able to get 10 sacks of that shit. So I bought like 15, 20, 10 sacks and just would go do my thing with it. And around that time is when they had Pelly too. Pelly was popping around that time too.
The Champagne, yeah. And then, you got those these are classic Bay Area strands. And then, shit like Red Fence. But I always wanted
Blackgate on Fillmore.
I always wanted to know, did people do extra shit to the weed? Because it was like,
yeah, I mean, bro, like the one I brought back to Arizona at that time, that shit was definitely fucked with for sure. It was sprayed with some shit for sure.
Yeah, and now around this time, is this around the time Toriano took you to the hip hop club and for the freestyles and shit?
Mm-hmm. Right there on Hayes Street, the Rock and Java.
Yeah, because it was a coffee shop too, right?
Yeah,
open
so
mic.
Toriano used to come into Telly's when I was selling weed and shit, and he used to come and get his free coffee, ice cream shake every time he pull up. That boy pull up, he had a little chick from where was she from? Minnesota or some maniac shit, dude. Yeah, he was on his shit back then, and he would come get his free coffee shake, and then we bonded a little bit. His brother Marco was crazy as fuck. Would come in there and be a menace and take things without asking and shit like that. But me and Toriano started bonding, and he started bringing me down to Rock and Java. He would make me battle people for fun, and he got a kick out of it. So
yeah,
he made me battle this guy, Mr. 3. He made me battle his cousin. He made me battle everybody, and people would get pissed.
Stay on blue. I'm just trying to stay racked up like you.
Put an 8 in a 1 and do magic. Tryna stretch hair run like elastic. Eco-friendly drug dealer, I don't waste no plastic. Use all four corners of that baggie. All I ever wanted was a bankroll. So I pull up on Champ before the bank close. Say no to stank hoes and stank clothes. No paramedic pimpin', nigga, we don't save hoes. Yeah, rest in peace to Lil